Memory might not always be there in the mind.
Memory with an organization of the size that we are is extremely important. If you don't have it, you lose it. Who's going to remember this?
Memories are changing. And the archives is always taking you back and the truth. This is what really happened. Look, it is written here.
Memories, however unreliable, are actually based on lived experiences. And I think archival records bear testaments to that.
You've got to keep a memory of important things going. It means so much to this organization.
This is where the oldest files that were created by UNHCR are. And they start here. This is the beginning of UNHCR. So we have here 10 kilometers of shelving. If you were able to put these files one on the top of the other, you will be above the height of Mount Everest. And this is only the paper part. So you have an extraordinary photo collection, an extraordinary video collection, and then an extraordinary posters collection. We also have drawings from children, so there is this visual part of the archives. This is the files of refugees. Because we have had millions, there are millions of these types of files. Behind each paper, there is a person.
Why did I leave Cambodia? I left Cambodia because of the war.
And so we had to leave our country and find somewhere safe to live.
And what I find it very touching about the archives of UNHCR is that we keep the memory of the communities and the people who were the victims of history.
The journey was very difficult. Hunger, thirstiness. We walked during the day, and during the night we slept.
In 2000, when the UNHCR was the 50th anniversary, we opened the archives to the researchers.
So the value of visiting an archive it's irreplaceable, really. And I would be out of a job if there were no archives. I'm an assistant professor at Utrecht University. I work on the history of international relations and specifically the history of human rights and forced displacement. The kind of information you get from the archival record is different from the kind of information you can find online or that you can find in official documents. It's fundamentally different, and it gives you a fundamentally deeper insight into why things happened the way they did. One of the most interesting type of document usually is a cable, a telegram, that gets sent between two locations. Often the reason for sending a telegram is something needs to be handled speedily.
Calcutta, 15th May 1971. Major upheaval has occurred which has created panic and flight.
I found a lot of materials where you can really see history being made, broadly speaking.
Comme d'autres pays qui ont connu ce problème, like other countries that have experienced this problem, Tunisia is keen to deal with it in an essentially humanitarian spirit. The situation sometimes takes on such magnitude that it also requires the resources of international solidarity.
Since UNHCR is in all emergencies, it has always been there, you see moment by moment, sometimes hour by hour, day by day, what is happening. And it's heartbreaking sometimes, many times it's heartbreaking. Yeah.
Goma has been swamped by some 1 million Rwandese refugees in the largest and swiftest exodus UNHCR has ever witnessed.
We have the history of the world, in fact, and we through our access, we return it to the world.
It's very important to put a human dimension back to the data to remind people that this is real and it continues to impact people's lives. I am a Vietnamese American visual artist. My work is very interdisciplinary and is often cultivated through extensive research. But I'm not just an artist. I'm a former refugee from Vietnam. So I'm here to discover something that other people might have missed.
I left Vietnam on 5th May 1985. The departure itself was not easy.
Since the change of government in southern Vietnam more than 10 years ago, over 500,000 Vietnamese refugees have attempted to cross the South China Sea in the hope of finding asylum in a new country. Unknown numbers have perished on the way, either drowned at sea, attacked by pirates, or dying of thirst, starvation, and exposure.
So I came across some statistics, maps, and coordinates of exact locations where pirate attacks on Vietnamese refugee boats in the Gulf of Thailand occurred.
Suddenly, we noticed 3 other boats approaching us. They formed a triangle and surrounded us. We realized that they were pirate fishing boats.
Just like most Vietnamese refugees, we all know a few friends, a few relatives, or heard about someone who had to endure such unspeakable acts of violence.
We drew closer, and we thought we were all going to die.
So I was able to give visual forms to these understudied passages. So that was the big map that is now at the Smithsonian American Art Museum.
Just think of how this organization is put together. People move here, going from one assignment to another in a different place is part of the reality of UNHCR. And if you didn't have a history that you could tap and say, what did you do? We would probably make the same error that we made before.
And they are a great asset because if we have to start like an airlift, we can come and see how we did it in the past and we learn from the past.
Every record you create provides evidence. It supports transparency, accountability. It also supports decision making. So we capture the content, the web archive content, and we preserve it in a digital preservation system to ensure that this content can be used in the future.
And what the archives of UNHCR shows is that there is a threat from generation to generation in a way to do things.
I was born in 1932. We lived in Germany. I didn't have to be told what is a refugee. I knew what a refugee was. And I said I did the right thing by going to UNHCR. And that's why I've been here.
And it's the archives of the people who find solutions. And we do find them. Not always, sadly, not for everybody, but there are many solutions.
I've worked with files of the repatriation of Namibia, where I come from.
Flying in from Zambia, the 149 passengers on board are the first Namibian refugees to set foot in their homeland after more than 15 years in exile.
She's very happy that we have come back.
Yeah. Even in these big, sad stories we keep, this is the archives of the people who helps.
To see the UNHCR and the Thai Marine Police conducting an anti-piracy campaign at the time, I think helped with the healing.
It was only when we reached dry land that we finally realized we had survived.
Yeah, it reminds us that, there is humanity buried underneath the inhumanity in our world.
Archive allows you to put yourself in the shoes of people forced to flee from conflicts and the other emergencies.
And this is what makes this archive so special as well. It's not only about desperation and sad things, it's about hope.